the most imitated and copied channel on the internet. I believe we're up there. It's like, I think that should be our new tagline. It's like
I think it should. I like that one.
Every day there seems to be a new channel like trying to copy us, copy what we're doing or whatever. It's like, I don't know, man. It's just it's not frustrating. It's just, it's a joke.
Well, what do they say? It's the biggest form of flattery, right?
Yeah, it's just more annoying than anything, though.
Well, if they have a girl that says, I like it a lot, they're completely trying to imitate us.
I like it. I'm going to say it 1,000 times today. We're going to have we should get a counter, like our YouTube counter, and count the I like it's and absolutely's. And we should have a goal like of 100 a day,
I think so. And absolutely is caught on with Tony Brown. I heard him talking and he said absolutely like 3 times in a sentence. I was like, okay. I say it a lot when I got Tony Brown saying it.
But I think a lot of people say it, and it's just, you're going to have, I've been doing this for 15 years, I've been on video for 15 years. This is my, I've changed YouTube accounts, not because I got like chased out of accounts or anything like that, just because I was trying different things. And it's like, I should have just kept the same account. I'd have like millions of subscribers by now on this channel. But the thing is that, it's never changed. It's always been the same. And it's like, it's just YouTube is bigger and the trolls and whatever. It's all people that are afraid to get out there themselves. There's 2 types of people on YouTube. There's the people that are afraid to get out there themselves. Well, there's more than 2 types, but there's definitely of the troll types. There's the people that are afraid to get out there themselves. And then there are the people that have gotten out there themselves and have just failed miserably and just quit.
Yeah.
So, I think that, that's all, part of it,
It for sure is. It really is. I'm gonna count how many times I say that though. Makes me laugh. I went out last night, Mitch. I am free as a bird. I'm allowed out at night. I have to tell you, a little bit overwhelming, all those TVs and all the games going on and all the noise in there. And I don't know if the bars are the same down there. When you watch hockey up here in Canada in the Brew House, which is one of my local pubs, the sirens, the red flashing alarms go off every time there's a goal. So watching that Calgary game last night, 6 goals in that game for Calgary. It was a great game to be out watching.
I
know you didn't watch it.
Couldn't even tell you that they played. I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of different games in action today. The NBA kind of revving it up for Thursday, and the reason why they're doing this is because Sunday just 2 games. So normally they play, and so they have to kind of they're back to the 82 game schedule. Joe was at the corner of the bar, giving people dirty looks.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, the pack of Mavericks were definitely there. The few were up on the bar too, you guys. Everyone stepped back. Trade deadline today at 3:00 Eastern. We're approaching that.
Yeah, I tell you 90% of the time, 99% of the time, it ends up being anticlimactic and a lot of trades that don't happen. Okay. And it's just the way it is in baseball as well. We see the same thing, and there'll be some minor deals, and then there'll be those salary cap deals, like teams looking to unload salary, and then trading for expiring contracts and things like that. Like teams willing to take a hit for an expiring contract. It's weird. It's like my headphones are off. Some days it's like it feels unbalanced. So
I don't like that feeling.
No, I don't either. Where it's like one seems louder than the other.
Well, at least you're not hearing me twice. Could be worse things.
I like
That's for sure. I like it too.
And it really wasn't relevant to anything that was said. I just felt like throwing it in.
Oh man,
we're due for that. I like it. So Harden wants a trade apparently, but it doesn't always mean that you're going to get one.
Yeah.
It doesn't always mean that you get one. That's for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens by the end of the day here. Who goes where?
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's like Ben Simmons seems like he's just so ripe to be traded, but it's like they want a ridiculous amount for him, but it's like he certainly doesn't warrant it because he doesn't have the production, and it's like everyone knows that they want to get rid of him and he wants out. Absolutely.
Absolutely, he wants out. He's just not a good team player, right? He's not at all.
Well, let's take a quick look at who is playing today. And, I was looking at the betting tools on Sports Chat Plays today. And so let me just bring this up if I can. Just wanted to show people this. I noticed something. So I'm still learning the tools too, right? I mean, there's so much there. And I was in this, like I said, yesterday's show, I had a conference call last night and we road mapped out the next year as to what we're going to do. And it's overwhelming the amount of tools and things that we're going to be adding to the site. So I know in the next couple of days, there will be some additions and I'll point those out. So it should be today or tomorrow. Yeah, Ben Simmons is a quit. He's not only a quitter. He quit because he can't hit shots and he's mad because people call him out on it. I mean, imagine if Shaq, Shaq went his whole career that he couldn't hit free throws, And I remember the MTV Cribs when they went to his house and he has like a full basketball court in his house and he would stand there. He's like, he stood there at the line. He's like, see, I practice all the time. He's like, all the time, hours and hours and hours. It's like, yeah, I think Ben Simmons is overrated too. I think he's one of those guys. Ben Simmons to me is one of those guys that has, like, in a skills competition, for passing and dribbling and all those things, he's the winner, of a skills competition. But when it comes to applying it on the court, it doesn't translate. Normally a guy like that, and you could see it in college, because normally a guy like that can carry his entire team into the tournament. And Ben Simmons was unable to do that at LSU as well. And I think the thing is, with Ben Simmons is it's kind of like the NFL draft combine, where the guy can jump and he can do all these things and he can lift weights and all these other things. But can he actually play football? And I think that's how you get a guy like Mitch Trubisky, drafted second or third overall that we never talk about anymore, right? It's like,
exactly.
I mean, this is how this happens. It's because of the combine. But Ben Simmons was a guy that was hyped like that, and he was supposed to be like that. But he's, the reality of it is he can pass, but he can't shoot. And it's like you need to be able to do everything because in the NBA, everybody is good. So it's like they're going to exploit whatever weakness you have. So it's like if that means fouling this guy every time down the court for the last 5 minutes, then that's what they're going to do. And that's exactly what they did to take the Sixers out. But anyways, I wanted to go to the betting tools real quick.
Okay.
I need to cut you know what I need to do? I need to go to the preview mode to do it. And I'll go.
Yeah, he definitely thinks he's better than he is. That's for sure. That ego.
Yeah, it's like this. All right, well, that didn't work. So thankfully I did it in preview mode. But let's see if we do it here. And then I do this. And then I do this. There we go. All right. So here I am at Sports Chat Place. And what I did is I just went to the tools here. And I went to the angles on Sports Chat Place. And of course, nothing's happened. There we go. So then I went to the last 30 days. Right? just to consolidate it because there's so much here. You could also consolidate it by sport. And then I looked at this and I said, holy smokes, road favorites are hitting at 59.3%. That's crazy. Right? Because they say, right, in sports betting, if you can hit 52%, right, you're going to win. And like the all-star of all-stars in sports betting hit it, 56, 57%. But here's something that over the last 30 days, 46, 31, and 3. And then you look at the favorites interconference, 56%. And the road west versus east, 55.36%. And then you look in here and you see what fits the mold today. And here it is. Memphis Grizzlies minus the 12 against Detroit. The Miami Heat minus the 5.5 against the Pelicans. And the Raptors minus the 8.5 against Houston all hit this thing that's been hitting at 59%. So these are at the betting tools on sportschatplace.com. You go to sportschatplace.com, betting tools. We have tons of different tools here, but I was looking at these this morning. And you can see here are the results of the last several times that this trend has come up. And you can see it's lost the last two, but before that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8, 3, and 1 since the 7th. So that's 2 days ago. And you could always click view more, and it will continue to load all the way down the page. See? So you can go, we're back to the 5th now, and look at all those winners in a row again. It just keeps going and going. So hopefully you guys have checked this out.
But the Grizzlies, the Heat, and the Raptors.
Right, and then here's the other one that hits at 56%, and that's the favorites interconference hits at 56%. So you see if there's any crossover, right? And here they are again. The Grizzlies, the Heat, and the Raptors again hit this one at 56%. So you got a double trend. And look at this one. This one's on an outright heater. This trend has hit 6 in a row. So while, it doesn't, while this isn't an indication of future performance, right? Past is not a guarantee of future performance. But you can see that this trend has been red hot. And you combine it with the other trend that we just looked at. So this is how you use the betting tools, to your advantage. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is.
It's like
finding those angles and then digging further into the games.
It's super easy. And this is one of the betting tools that's been there since the beginning. Well, actually we added this expanded angles maybe a few weeks ago. But I think the issue with this, and I'm going to talk to the guys, is that the default is 180 days. So it makes it confusing. So I'm going to talk to them. And if you look, the default is 180 days. So when you look at the angles here at 180 days, it's too much. There's too much data here because there's all this college information here. But if you break it down and you just do NBA over the last 180 days, but it's like 180 days isn't really relevant to this season, right? So it's like what's really relevant to this season would be the last 90 days or the last 30 days, which is the one where it comes up. And that's where we found these trends. And they're all over 50%. And these two, the top two, are almost 60%. So you're never going to, there are people out there that can claim that they win them all in sports betting. They don't. They don't. Even the guys that give out these ridiculous, like I'd seen the YouTube comments, people say, these ridiculous favorites. They'll say like, and I don't even know why they leave the comments, but I don't, I generally try not to crush those guys and say, I don't see the value or whatever, because we all know at a certain point, it's like I've seen enough of these comments that, these guys are probably betting like giant parlays or something, or they're 12.
And they just don't understand the concept of
Grizzlies money line, right? They don't understand that, that it's like if you win $1 if you win less than $1, 80 cents on every $10 that you bet. Well, when you lose one, it takes 12 bets to make up to get even. So it's like the probability, even if you're betting, ridiculous favorites like that, the probability of hitting 12 consecutive bets, they have like those beat the streak competitions and things like that. And believe me, no one knocks it out of the park, right? So
No. There's always an upset. There's always that underdog that comes in there and gets the win. And especially with like the huge favorites like this, there's always one of those games. We see it in all sports.
I like it. Anyways, let's go to the NBA schedule for today. I know that we took a little bit of a sidetrack there, but hopefully you guys saw. Hopefully you guys think that was worth it. And of course, this show is new, so it's like your feedback is more than welcome. I know there's some negative feedback, and I don't really, I take it into consideration. I think, like I said yesterday, and I've addressed it time and time again. Don't guess. And it's like I would never ask anybody else to put their full personnel file, from your human resources department on my show, and I'm not going to air somebody else's either. That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
I don't care, how vocal people are or whatever. It's like, but anyways, we've got the Pistons and the Grizzlies. We just took a look at that one, and we took a look at the Heat and the Pelicans. The Pelicans is the interesting angle because CJ McCollum should be ready to play for the Pelicans in this one. It does give them another angle here, but the bettors are leaning, or at least the odds are showing that the Heat are the way to go here. And I could see it, I really understand that angle. Do you have a premium on this? Because I don't know what you have.
I do have a premium on the side, but
all right, so
I'm looking at the total in this one.
Okay. I don't want
for a free play.
I should probably look and make sure before I start digging into these games that I'm not stepping on your toes. But anyways, I'll step
away. I can always give a side or a total on both.
Or you could
do both.
Or you could slip up and give out a premium pick. It could happen.
I could. Right? I've done that many a time. Someone's thrown a game at me and I've just started blurting it out. So.
Yeah, it happens.
It does. Right? Especially when you disagree with someone and you're like verbal diarrhea out of your mouth and you're like, oops, sorry guys. Okay, so I'm looking at the total though in this one, 217. These teams have trended to the under, but I think we're going to have a more competitive game in this one. So I am looking at that over. The Heat come in rested into games and play strong to that over. They're 8-2 in their last 10 to the over overall. And I really do think even with the Pelicans, with their Adam McCollums here, I think they have a good game. So I think there's going to be lots of points in this one. Both teams are doing well with points. They're averaging 107 for the Pelicans and 110 for the Heat. It was one of my favorite games on the board. I'm excited to see how CJ McCollum does with the Pelicans.
I think that it's going to take a while to get chemistry with this team. I think that, it's rare that you see a guy just come in and all of a sudden he just gels, he just fits like a glove right into what they're doing. We even see the guys come off of the injured, when they're injured and they come back, and it certainly sets teams back. And we've seen that, plenty of times. And, we saw it last year when Kyle Lowry was out for the Raptors. He came back and then they just lost like, a million games in a row. And we saw it this year even with the Memphis Grizzlies. When who've been outstanding this season, but the time they weren't outstanding was when Ja Morant came back from injury. They lost like 2 or 3 games in a row, and then they got the chemistry back together. And of course, now I think this is the best Grizzlies we've seen in a very long time, maybe ever. But I think that expecting McCollum to come in and to absolutely change the Pelicans, I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think that you have to give the Pelicans a lot of credit. 22-32 on the season straight up, 12-13 at home, and 27-26-1 against the number, 6-4 straight up in their last 10. This is a team missing their very best player and one of the very best players in the NBA. He hasn't played much in his career. He's one of those guys that, he's just injured all the time.
Which is hard. It's hard for a team to carry a player like that.
Well, the hope is that he's going to be, Joel Embiid was like this for a while for the Sixers, and it paid off for them. Karl Anthony Towns has been like that for the Timberwolves. There's been players like this. Bill Walton was like this the bulk of his career, but when they play, they're outstanding. You know, there's nothing you can say about it. But the thing is, they need a bigger contribution. Are they sitting him because they don't want to risk him getting a further injury, or do they do it? Are they doing it because he really can't play? Last year we saw him play. It was like the last week of the season, and that's like that's all we've seen him play. You know, in the last 2 years. So. Yep. Are they just waiting? Because now they'll have McCollum, they'll have Ingram, they'll have him. They'll be ready to go, you know, for next season. They're definitely a team to watch if they can get him healthy.
Who did they lose? Alexander Walker, and there's one other player. Didn't they lose?
To get McCollum, I think a bunch of draft choices.
Okay.
Is what that would cost you. We could find out exactly what the trade was. Let's see. It was a 3-way deal.
Yep.
Josh Hart.
Josh Hart.
Yep. Josh Hart. I think they won that deal. I would say.
Yeah.
I would say they won that deal.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, it's interesting to see teams trade players how the players.
Couldn't hear a word that you were saying, but it sounded like she said, "I like it" or "absolutely." It was definitely one of those two. But but I think so for me, I'm going to stick with those picks that hit those angles on the betting tools. I'm going to go with the Grizzlies here. I'm going to go with the Heat, and I'm going to go with the Raptors. That all three of those hit the betting tools on those angles. It's 3 road favorites, and it's 3 road favorites going cross conference as well. Yeah. You know, it's east at west. And except for the Memphis is west at east. But in all of those situations, those are hitting it. The road favorites are hitting at 60% over the last 30 days, and the interconference at 56.02. I think if all you got to do is hit on one of those angles, but you got them both going in those 3 games.
And I absolutely love the Grizzlies here. Even though it's a high line, I think this Pistons team is just trending in the wrong direction. They've lost their last 5 games. Grizzlies are just too strong with Morant. Morant's playing just lights out at the moment. And the Grizzlies have dominated this matchup. They are 19-7 against the spread in the last 26 meetings. I think they come out hard and strong in this one. And I think we go over. I think that's a high-scoring battle as well. So Grizzlies putting up all those points.
Well, then we have the 3 later games. We've got the Mavericks and the Clippers. We've got the Suns and the Bucks, and Golden State against the Knicks. Can kind of tap dance around. I'm not, like I said, I don't know what your premium plays are. I'm trying to find. I went to look. I totally forgot where I was, but we can come back to it. But I think for me, it's like I still have very little faith in the Knicks. 2-8 in their last 10, 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games, 12-15 overall on the road. The Warriors 9-1 straight up in their last 10 and 25-4 straight up at home this season. I know they're missing some players, but to me, it's like the Knicks are death, and not.
Warriors killed me though last night, Mitch. I hate this matchup tonight because I was so mad at the Warriors. They came out for that first quarter, and then I don't know what they did. They played just absolutely terrible against the Jazz after the first quarter.
Well, the Jazz are a good team, and the Knicks aren't. So I think that's going to be the difference here.
It should be the difference. I'm staying off it though, but I definitely think the Warriors come out and get a big win. I'm just personally, I can't do it. Can't get there with them tonight. So. The other one I like in there is the Dallas Mavericks. I just can't trust in the Clippers right now. I don't like what I'm seeing out of them at all. And I think the Mavericks team is just playing too strong. Dallas won this back in November, which was quite a while ago, but they won it, I think 112 to 104. Like they had a really big game against them there, and they're 6-1 against the spread in their last 7. When their opponents have allowed 100 or more points in the previous game. I don't know. The Clippers are one of those teams that they play up in some games, but I don't see it being here on the road against Dallas.
Yeah, I did the video on that game, and for me, it's one that I could definitely sit out. I have no problem sitting out that game. It's just not one that I'm rushing to the window to bet by any stretch of the imagination. And I think at the same time, I think this Suns-Bucks game, the rematch, from the NBA Finals last year, I think, it's probably a little bit more meaningful for the Suns. But for the Bucks, it's definitely a statement game for them too. So, the angle is the Suns, and the revenge and all of that other good stuff. But at the same time, it's statement game for the Bucks too. So, I don't expect them to lay down at all.
No, it's going to be a great game. The Bucks have just been playing lights out at the moment as well. So, be interesting to see. I can't wait for this one.
Yeah.
What time does that one kick off, Mitch?
10 o'clock Eastern.
Okay, so 8 o'clock my time. Good. I can watch the full game.
Joe's in that odd mountain time zone.
Yeah.
I think it's the smallest time zone. Well, Hawaii, my time zone, I think, is the smallest of all the time zones. I think that the Hawaiian Standard Time has least people in an HST than any other time zone. But I'm going to guess that Mountain Time Zone is probably up there as far as like because I know in the United States, it's a very small sliver of people in that time zone.
Yeah.
That's why Rod always refers to it like as the time. And it's like, I mean, that's the least amount of people, relate to that time. It's like Pacific time, less, but that's why we try and do everything in East Coast time. It's just seen as the general reference, and it's like I'm as far as you can be from, East Coast time. It's like, it's a 5-hour time difference, and coming up whenever they switch the clocks, I'll be a 6-hour time difference, which means that the show is going to be at 4 a.m. my time instead of 5 a.m. So I'm going to be really in a good mood.
Oh wow, that is very early for you.
Yeah, 4 o'clock comes early, as they say.
We could always move it with the time change for you, and then
I'm good.
Okay.
Get it over with.
I know you're an early bird. I like it.
Get it over with. Well, it's like, I have to work on I live in Hawaii, but I have to work East Coast time zone. So it is what it is, and that's why it works for me, because if I was working on the East Coast in East Coast time zone, then I would be working all night like I used to when I lived in Chicago, which is Central time zone. But it was like I would just be working all night. Instead, now it's like I just get up early, I get it all over with, and it's like I could take a nap or whatever in the day and stay up, but I don't, it's just I know it's usually right around the NCAA. It's in March Madness.
Oh, I can't wait for the time to shift forward.
Ours doesn't move. March 13th.
Okay. So we got just over a month here.
Yeah, it's always the week before. It's always the Sunday before the NCAA tournament. It's when it always is. Right before March Madness, because they go an hour forward. They just can't wait for the tournament. It's like an hour less.
Yeah. That countdown clock gets slightly smaller.
But speaking of the NCAA tournament, we've got college basketball action tonight. Last night, I think that, once again, we saw the odds makers way off. I missed my dog of the day. I tell you, sometimes on the dog of the day, I'm reach. And sometimes I feel really good about it. And yesterday, I felt really good about my dog of the day. And they got killed,
Oh,
it's like, it happens. No, it's like, it happens. But it's like, sometimes it's like, it's a reach, and I'm just like looking for a dog, something that, it's got to be a dog. It's got to be, but... other times it's it's like I feel really good about it. Like, I felt like was good about Wisconsin. I felt good yesterday about Ole Miss. And it was like, man, they got whooped. So they were in it. I should have given out George Washington should have been my dog of the day because UMass straight ass. I mean, they're just straight ass.
Yeah, they never deserve to be the favorite. That's
how were they favored by like 8 points or something?
I don't know.
They got shellacked.
They did.
They got crushed. And the other one that was I got on my parlay on the site, on my parlay that I do on the YouTube, my college basketball YouTube parlay, people were crushing me on my Quinnipiac pick because they had lost like by 20 points the earlier game, whatever. I mean, they were 8.5-point dogs or something. They won by like 20. I mean, it was
nice.
like,
I love that.
Yeah, they both, I hit the college basketball parlay.
Congratulations. Good work.
But, I hit a bunch of them, but it's like, it was just one of those ones where it's like, I don't know, people just hated it in the comments, but it happens. But we've got early action today, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Towson taking on William & Mary. We've got Wagner against Mount St. Mary's. We've got Georgia Southern App State, 6:30 Eastern Time. Then we head into the 7 p.m. time zone with Cleveland State against Illinois Chicago, the Flames. We've got Purdue Fort Wayne, the Mastodons, up against Indiana Purdue, who PU, man. There's definitely, you can't say Indiana Purdue without PU because, man, they stink. 2-19 on the season, 5-14 against the number 1 and 9 straight up in the last 10. Whew. Yeah.
Wow.
They make the nets
make
the nets look good. Meanwhile, got Longwood up against South Carolina Upstate. Kind of off the board there. Troy versus Arkansas State. Delaware versus Northeastern. Northeastern coming off of that big win over Towson. Got James Madison up against Elon. Maryland up against Iowa. Western Illinois against North Dakota State. Mercer versus VMI. Let me see how far these games go. All right, so not too much further. Greensboro versus Citadel. Drexel Hofstra. Sacred Heart versus Bryant. Merrimack versus Central Connecticut State. Of course, Merrimack fitting that schools that we've visited while on acid. Angle.
Speak for yourself. I haven't.
You could. There's still time. There is still time.
Canadians won't let me cross the border, though, so we're safe.
You can cross the border only on acid. LIU versus St. Francis. Fairly disinterested against St. Francis. Got Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, up against Georgia State. I mean, how many times have you used the word Chanticleer in your life outside of talking about Coastal Carolina? How about 0 on that one for me?
Me too.
I didn't even know it was a word. UAB against Southern Miss. Middle Tennessee against Old Dominion. I think they made it up. Marshall against FIU. Charlotte against La Tech. Evansville versus Indiana State, the rematch. Central Mich versus Ohio. Joe liked Central Mich the other night. They won outright. Joe, any of these, we got a long list of games here. We could break them down
Yeah, tons of games here. I love William and Mary plus the 18 points here against Towson. I think what we're going to see is William and Mary just coming out strong. They're great as a road underdog, 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 as that road underdog. And the road team in this matchup is 5-0 against the spread in their last 5. I think Towson wins. I don't think William and Mary could actually pull the upset and get it straight up, but I think it's closer than those 18 points.
I like the plus 1800 there on William and Mary. I got no problem going money line on that one.
Okay.
They're not that bad. They're not nearly as bad, and it's kind of they've been covering pretty well, especially on the road. Towson won the first meeting 91-69, so they were in it.
Yeah.
22. What's 22? And here they are getting 18 in the revenge spot.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. And then I'm looking at Delaware. I don't think Northeastern can come in and get a win here against Delaware or even a cover with the points. Delaware is the better team, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring one in this one, too. I like the over 137.5. You got any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think Northeastern, we saw them last time, get the win against Towson. So stringing together wins isn't something that they generally do.
Yeah.
We know that. For the most part,
Yeah.
they've been terrible. I think one of the more interesting games, you got Maryland and Iowa here. Maryland is at home. Iowa's not been a great road team, just 2-5 straight up on the road. Maryland's 7-7 at home. It's been a disappointing season, but they have a lot of talent on that roster. I wouldn't be surprised to see Maryland outright them in that game.
Okay. You think, any thoughts on that total, Mitch? That was when I was looking at the under. The under, the number's fallen quite a bit. It was 149, 146.5. Now, I still think we just squeak under that.
Iowa's definitely struggled for points on the road.
Yep.
No doubt about it. Maryland, well, they can clunk it at any time. We know that. So,
yeah, I'm going to stick with the under with that one.
I think the Purdue-Fort Wayne against Indiana-Purdue, even though it's 20 points, 19.5, I think that one to me is interesting as well. Purdue-Fort Wayne and Indiana-Purdue, you got two Purdues going at it, in the Horizon League here. And, I think Fort Wayne could win this one by 30, 40 points. We saw one of these last night in a similar situation with, two bad teams going at it, or a reasonable team against a bad team.
Yep.
And I think it was a 40-point game in that one.
Yeah, exactly. When we have two Purdue's going at each other, is something bad going to happen, like when we have two of the same colors?
I think something's gonna happen bad for Indiana Purdue Iwapui.
Yep.
I think something real bad's gonna happen, just like it has most of the season. They're perfect 0-8 on the road.
Oh yeah, that's a perfect road record right there.
They've nailed it, stuck the landing.
Oh man, when are they finally going to get their win? I'd like to look at their schedule and see one game that's actually winnable for them there.
I don't think they have one. So I think that could be they are the winnable game for everybody else. Right? So
it's like they're coming to town. Let's get out the bandwagon.
UAB against Southern Miss. Southern Miss is another team that's absolutely terrible, and UAB is another team that can run it up. 23 points. We're just at that point of the season where we're going to see some big numbers out there. And, we saw the Dogs last night on the drive-thru. I gave out San Jose State against San Diego. The line opened at 14.5. By the time I got on the show, I had sent my pick into Tony at plus 14.5. By the time they got on that I got on the show, and I'm always last on the drive-thru, 18.5 it was at.
Wow.
Yeah. They only lost by 10. So you're seeing these big lines and and people hammering favorites. So you kind of have to be a little bit. But Southern Miss is a team that they're fully capable of giving up those 23 points in the last 5 minutes of the game. We've seen it.
Yeah, is this one where you could look at Southern Miss for that first half to come out stronger and keep it within the number?
It depends, because UAB can be a tough place to play too.
Okay.
They have that big offense. They have the big defense. It's so one-sided, and that's why you have a 23-point line here. It's like maybe if it was, I don't know, maybe they'd look past them. I'm not sure.
23 points. Wow.
Looks bad. It's just bad.
It does look bad for sure. What other ones are you looking at in here, Mitch? You went all the way up, all through all the 7 o'clock games, though?
Yeah, 7 Eastern time is what we did. I think La Tech against Charlotte. Charlotte's 9-2 straight up at home, but playing against the teams with the winning records, I'm not really sure. The Charlotte defense isn't quite what it was. The La Tech defense, not really anything. It never was. But I think offensively, you have pace is going to make the race in this one. If La Tech plays at their speed, Charlotte's going to be dead. So it's definitely one to maybe watch and put a halftime bet on. Indiana State versus Evansville is another one that's interesting to me because Evansville beat Indiana State last time out as a 10.5-point dog. And now it's on a back-to-back. And that game was at Indiana State. This one's at Evansville. Of course,
and we're getting points with them now.
Yeah, well, Evansville is the dog again.
Yeah. Interesting. Strong at home against that spread. 5-3 against the spread at home.
So Roberto, I don't know what you're talking about. Is this a premium for you? Oh, I don't know what the question was. North Dakota State versus Western Illinois. I don't think we've gotten to that time slot. Have we?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think so. No. So that's yeah. So that's pretty much the answer there. We've gotten to the time slot. We're at the 7:00 Eastern time games.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Another one I'm hoping the team does well is Old Dominion, but I don't think they will. I think Middle Tennessee State comes out and gets the win and cover, and that's 5.5 points. If it was a couple more points, I could see Old Dominion keeping it tight, but I think Middle Tennessee State's just going to be too strong for them there.
I'm looking up, what does dominion mean? Holds dominion over the island. Power to rule country or region. Because it's like you have the old dominion, is there a new dominion? Is there kind of intermediary dominion? We had the same problem yesterday with South Florida. Same issue.
Oh, I love the name Old Dominion. There's a band, Old Dominion, isn't there? Or are they New Dominion?
Oh, he's saying the game is at 7 p.m. North Dakota. I mean, I haven't looked at the game, but I will. Yeah, there's Old Dominion.
Oh, yeah, it's
Who is this game?
It's North Dakota. Oh, no. North Dakota State? Which one was he asking?
North Dakota State.
Yeah. Western Illinois. Western Illinois is 1.5 point favorites in that. 7-4 at home this season, 5-4 against that spread.
What's the rotation number? I can't even find this game.
762. Or no, sorry, that is...
There it is, 761, 762. I see it.
Yep.
Yeah, Western Illinois, it's odd that they're favored here and the line is going higher. I like North Dakota State at first glance, just looking at it from a very high level, and that's without even looking at it. I would say North Dakota State, and I think getting the more points to me is attractive as well. Western Illinois, all offense, no defense. Defense generally travels well, not as appealing to the viewer. But when you look at games with close point spreads like this one, kind of like that Cal versus Oregon State game last night, you want to look at the teams that shoot free throws better. So if it's a 1.5 spread, then for me, I look at when you have this big offense versus with no defense, and the other way around, and North Dakota State has pretty good offense here and reasonable defense compared to Western Illinois. This is actually a pretty good play. I really like them here, and so I might put a couple bucks on this thing.
There you go. I'm glad you told us about this game.
Maybe I'll add it to my premium picks. I really think I kind of like this thing.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like, even if it does shape up to be a tight game here, which I don't even think it is. Like I said, one team shoots 70% from the line, the other shoots 75%. Yeah, Houston was terrible last night. I thought the officiating in that Houston game and the Oklahoma game were hideous. I lost both of those, and I'm going to blame them both on the officials. I mean, I lost, and if the calls went my way, I would have been happy. But it's like terrible.
Damn refs. Wonder how much hate mail they get.
Probably zero compared to what I get, because they're not as out in the open as we are. Like who was? I couldn't tell you the name of those guys. I'm sure I could find out.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
I don't care enough.
Losing money with them, though. Some refs.
Those refs.
They're right up there with the Timberwolves and the Nets. Oh, man, those Brooklyn Nets, I tell ya.
That Colts.
I'm going to have like a list.
It was so fitting that the Colts got blown out by the Jaguars, in week 18. It was like so fitting, It's like all they need is beat the Jaguars to make the playoffs. Everyone's got them like already put in the playoffs. It's like get blown out. It's like that Colts. Yeah, I mean, they weren't even close. They were crushed. Anyways,
No, not at all.
one game in the 7:30 slot. That's Louisiana Monroe against Texas Arlington. Odd line in that one, too. Then you got South Alabama against Arkansas Little Rock. Louisiana against Texas State. Nebraska Omaha versus South Dakota. Some real sexy games here. We got Chicago State against Stephen F. Austin. Got New Orleans, the Privateers, up against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. St. Thomas, Timmy's. You know, this is one that this is a team that I've seen a lot of sharps on all season long. Tonight's their night. -7 against North Dakota. North Dakota, I don't even need to look. Their defense so bad. 0-13 straight up on the road. 3-10.
Ouch.
Yeah, they stink. I'm adding that one too. So North Dakota State, St. Thomas.
Wow.
I'm not even looking at the game. Anyways, Nicholls State against Incarnate Word Up. Utah Valley against Grand Canyon. Belmont versus Morehead State. Two good teams in that one. I think Morehead not getting any respect whatsoever.
Yeah, 10-point dog in that.
Yeah,
wow.
No way. Wade just left town. Way crazy. Clemson against Duke. Clemson won the first game. That was at Cameron. Southern Illinois against Tennessee Martin. Western Kentucky against Florida Atlantic. Tennessee State versus Murray State. It's a very nice state if you haven't been there. They have the best Club Meds at Murray State.
Oh, really?
I'm just
okay.
I'm just saying.
Oh,
I'm
gullible. I believed you. I was like,
it's not really a state. It's not really a state. Eastern Illinois, who's straight ass as well, up against Tennessee Tech, who really isn't that bad. It's amazing that they're just 1-11 on the road. They're 7-5 against the number on the road. Tennessee Tech. Tony T always was like, when I used to do a podcast every week with Tony T, and I would be writing stuff down as I'm talking, and he'd be like,
yep.
He goes, when Mitch starts writing stuff down, start writing it down. He's like, that's what you do. He's like, when he starts writing down, he's like, that's when he's right. I do it, unconsciously. Yeah, Nicholls State is just there are a few teams that are pretty much dead to us. I took the Nets again today, only because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Oh God, I have to stay away from them.
I took them on my 7 free picks in just 5 minutes. I like to open with the Nets.
They finally have to do something.
No, they don't.
Right?
They don't. That's the whole thing. No, they don't.
Oh, man. Yeah,
Okay.
That game is a total stay off for me. I couldn't get behind either team.
Austin P against Southeast Missouri State, another team that's way crappier than the record. I got news for you. And Northwestern State against Houston Baptist, another crap fest. This is
a crap fest
today. This could be some of the worst games there are. It'll be interesting to see like what happens in the NBA and the playoffs and everything as things roll forward, because it looks like things are going to be opening up. At least that's the way that it looks. I think Hawaii will be last,
Yep.
but everywhere else seems like they are they're ready to go. We're hearing reduced restrictions in New York, and it's like it's going to be a little bit of a process, but by summer it looks like we're going to be back to just almost normal again, which is unbelievable because it felt like we were never going to get there.
Yeah, we've had a major shift in the last couple of weeks. It's great to see. So
we've seen a major shift from any of these crappy teams that we just talked about.
Oh, major shifts from any of the crappy teams?
Or any of the good teams ready to put the hammer down?
Oh, man. Which ones was I liking? We went all the way up to the 30 games. You know what? I think Clemson, even though I know that they got the win last time, I'm going to still ride with them here at home, plus those points against Duke. I think it's a tighter game. I don't think Duke comes in and blows them out of the water. So I'm going to take Clemson plus the 6. Then
Duke won that game, 71-69.
Oh, Duke won it.
They won.
Okay.
They didn't cover.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in my head it was.
I thought that Clemson had won, but
Yeah.
Duke actually did squeak out the win. Yeah, Duke's gonna crush them.
Duke's gonna crush them completely.
I think so, but that's
More than
just
6
me.
points.
Oh, 60.
60. Okay, maybe I'm wrong on that then, because I had a 4 or 5 point game.
Well, the thing is that we saw Clemson beat Virginia at Virginia, and then when they went back to Clemson busted them. I mean, Virginia busted them up.
Yeah.
It's like we're seeing that a bunch here from these guys. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games. 2-point loss to Carolina, 5-point loss to Georgia Tech.
They are 9-2-1 against the spread in their last 12 home games.
Yeah, good for them.
They can play at home sometimes, right? And then Morehead State plus those points there, like you said, too many in that one. And there was one other that I really liked. I'm just scrolling back up because I cannot remember off the top of my head which one it was. South Dakota. I'm going to have to go with South Dakota, laying those 6 points on the road here. I think they're going to come out strong in this one. I know Nebraska-Omaha has been strong at home, but I think South Dakota can get it done. They're 4-0 against the spread as a favorite. In their last 4 games, 5-0 against the spread in the last 5 games versus teams with winning records below 400.
Not sure I 100% love that game. I think there are just other places I'd rather be, like Stephen F. Austin against Chicago State. The Lumberjacks, 15-8 on the season. Chicago State is actually one of the better Chicago State teams we've seen in a while. 6-17 on the record on the season, which is really good for them. I mean, you look at back the last 10 years, they probably don't have 6 wins combined, but they've been a lot more competitive. I like Stephen F. though. I like the way the Lumberjacks are playing, and I think the WAC, it's as crazy as it is. I think the WAC deserves to be more than a 1-bid conference, even though I know it's a 1-bid conference. But I think that some of these WAC teams, could definitely make some noise in March Madness, and I think we'll see it in the. I think we'll see it in the other tournaments that they're in. I messed up our background on the preview mode. Thankfully, we still have the preview mode going from when I was doing the screen shares. So,
oh, nice.
So it's able to not look so crazy on the thing. Oh, what a mess I made.
Looks good what I can see.
Yep. I'll have to fix it after the show.
Okay.
I think.
Anything else that you were liking in this time slot before we move on?
No, I don't love this slot, to be honest with you. Just not one of my favorites. I think, I think that Austin Peay against Southeast Missouri State is probably solid in that one. Austin Peay has not had a lot to cheer for at home. I think this is a spot where maybe they get a little bit of a chance to do something.
Okay. Well, I have to say before joining PickDawgz, I'd never heard the expression before, I don't love this slot. And now, hear it quite a bit.
Well, because we break it into slots.
I know. It just makes me laugh every time I hear it. I don't know why.
It's a nice slot. It's such a slot.
Well, the 9:00 Eastern time slot has a lot of good games.
So what's your drink? What's your drink limit at the bar? Like when you go on, casual Wednesday night at the bar. Like I stayed home, watched Married at First Sight, I ate chicken burgers.
Well, I ended up getting a ride, so I was able to have a couple more drinks than I normally would have.
Nice.
So yeah, so I started with a gin and tonic. Well, not gin and tonic, gin and soda and lime.
What's your brand? Like, do you have a brand of gin or just gin and tonic?
I just asked them for not the basement gin. So I don't know what they gave me last night. Every bar is so different with what they have. So but I love the Costco gin. It's like purple, and I can't remember what it's called. It's a beautiful purple gin from Costco.
Nice.
My favorite.
Costco gin.
Well, yeah, Kirtland doesn't make it, but someone makes it. They sell
but
it.
They could.
Costco.
But they could.
They could. They probably do, right? They make a whole bunch of stuff and relabel it.
My wife used to walk the dog with the wife of the guy who ran the Maui Costco. He retired and they moved off island. But I used to joke around that he would drink the bottles of liquor and replace it with water and food coloring. For the display ones, the ones that they have on top.
Like what kids try to do.
He said that he had stories, he said they find bottles of wine everywhere, like in the store, empty bottles of wine everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He said all the time, constantly.
Crazy.
Yeah. He said people walk around like wedge of cheese, crackers, bottle of wine. It's like spend the night at Costco. It's like, I guess, date night. I used to drink Tanquerays and tonic. I also drink Tanqueray. I also used to, but for gin martinis, I would drink Gibby's gin, which is
ooh, that's a beautiful gin.
Yeah. I drank a lot, way too much of it.
I think this purple one's called Empress. I want to say it's called Empress.
Empress gin.
It's super fancy.
Super fancy. I never really, I just stuck to the basics. Tanqueray, Stolichnaya, stuff like that.
Nice. I like it. But yeah, I just had a gin and then I switched to red wine because I get cold easy.
Might as well mix. If you're out, you might as well just mix.
So, well, the shots started coming out, and I was like, "No way!" They were doing shots of Fireball.
So were people out? Were people out for the first time, like you, or were people where most people were out for the first time? So it was a big party, kind of like a.
Yeah, it was.
But there's other people that have just been out the whole time, right?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of people that have just been out the whole time, but you could tell from the environment there last night, 80% of the people had not been out in months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like you.
It was quite the environment. Yeah, like me, I've been trapped in here. So
Joe's going back to get her left shoe after the show. She's like, don't find them.
Come on, if I'm gonna leave something, it's always my purse.
The guy just back, he's like, are you looking for a left or a right? Let me check the left. It's like there's a lot of shoes last night. A lot of shoes.
Oh man.
Got Dixie State taking on New Mexico State. Got Gonzaga taking on Pacific. St. Mary's against San Diego. Southeast Louisiana against McNeese State. Denver against South Dakota State. Washington State against Arizona. We got Oregon, the Ducks, up against Stanford. Montana State against Portland State. Idaho, the Vandals, up against Idaho State. Another crappy team. These are two bad teams. Idaho State. That's like, that's what I'm going to tell Ruffalo. It's like, if Ruffalo, you screw up again, you're going to have to watch Idaho State game on a loop. Eastern Washington versus Weber State. We got the correct pronunciation. We Googled it, and they had a thing where you click on it. It actually pronounces it for you audio style, and it was Weber State. Michigan versus Purdue. Montana. One of my favorite Zappa songs, up against Northern Arizona. Gonna raise me a crop of dental floss. Raising it up, waxing it down, putting a little box that I can sell uptown.
You so lost me. I have no clue.
You never heard that Frank Zappa song? Oh man,
never heard it.
It's the song is I might be moving to Montana soon. Gonna be a dental floss tycoon. He's going to raise him a crop of dental floss. Going to raise it up.
I've never heard it.
Raising it up, waxing it down, putting a little white box that I can sell uptown.
Never heard it. So when you said it at first, I was like.
Then the chorus is moving to Montana soon. Going to be a dental floss tycoon. Like this. It's like, because I'm moving to Montana.
I'm going to have to listen to it right after the show.
Zappa's different. Either you love it or you hate it. Rod's
catchy.
picks are available in the premium area. We get that question. Where's Rod's hockey? It's in the premium area. You go to premium picks at PickDawgz. Click on Rod. You will find his picks. He's taking a few month break. I know most of you guys don't have the opportunity to do this, but for most people, it is a grind. That's why you see these shows come and go, and you see some shows they don't do it on the weekends, or they don't do it on this. And it's like we go 24/7, pretty much full tilt all the time. So people need a break once in a while. And that's the way it is. Anyways.
Absolutely.
So we have those games, Joe. What do you think? Any of those? You moving to Montana soon?
I think so. That'd be fun to go to Montana. But I'm going to look at Gonzaga laying all those points against Pacific. Pacific is just so bad. I think Gonzaga can come out here. It's 32 points. Hate laying that, but I think Gonzaga just completely pulls away. Pacific's been terrible on the road. 0-10 on the road this season, 1-9. There's no way they can take on Gonzaga. And then I'm going to look at Oregon laying that 8.5 points over Stanford. I like them at home, 9-3 straight up at home, 6-6 against that spread. But we got Stanford rolling in here, not playing well on the road, 2-5 straight up this season, and they're 2-4-1 on the road against that spread. I think they're really going to struggle here. They're also struggling in the underdog position, 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 games as an underdog. And Oregon plays great.
Stanford. I like it. I like it. Anyways.
You like it?
Yes.
Well, I like it.
I like it. Absolutely. The thing about Stanford is that they're like a really good, educational, institution. They're like, one of the best schools in the country, yet they still excel at athletics. And you just don't see that everywhere, At Stanford, I mean, they've had some of the all-time greats, come out of Stanford, and not just in basketball or football. We're talking about, some of the other sports. Tiger Woods went to Stanford.
Oh, he did? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah.
Stayed
1 year?
Yes. They tried to get John McEnroe.
Did they?
Play tennis.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite Stanford story. All right, I'll tell you, Joe, since you asked.
Okay, let's hear it.
So John McEnroe goes to Stanford for his tour, right, and his visit and his interview and everything. And they say to him, the guy says to him, the guy says, "Well, what do you think? You ready to come to Stanford and play tennis and whatever, be a student here?" He said, "I'm going to go play pro tennis." The guy says to him, "Well, what if you get injured? What if it doesn't work out for you?" He said, John McEnroe said to him, "What if I enroll and you guys close your doors tomorrow?"
I like it.
Yeah. It's like, what if you guys go bankrupt? It's like, all right.
Yeah.
And that was that whole story.
Wow, I like that story.
Yeah, there's a guy who's like, I know what I want to do. I'm going to take my shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for him.
But we've got a lot of good games in this slot. Montana State is actually not a bad team either, up against Portland State. I watched the first meeting of these two teams, and it was all Montana State. It was at Portland State, and they really had very few answers. I could see Montana State taking them out again here. I don't understand the line here, to be honest with you. So Montana State was only a 3.5 point favorite in that game, and it was one of those odd lines. It was like, "Oh, they're begging you to take Montana State," and I said, "Beg me all you want. I'm going to take them. That's what I'm going to do." But they beat the crap out of them. I mean, they won by 13. I think they were up by 25 most of the game. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, Portland State might be playing a little bit better now than they were, but I don't see it, I really don't see it. I don't see it.
Okay.
You got the Jackrabbits against Denver, too. Denver is actually not a bad team, and I just think it's a lot of points. I don't know. I love my Jackrabbits. They're 10-0 in their last 10. I'll tell you where the Jackrabbits are always dangerous is in the NCAA tournament. That's where you just don't want to be on the wrong side of the Jackrabbits.
Yeah, they're fast.
Oh, they're tough. They're those guys that just always hit the shot, Like when you think March Madness and the buzzer beaters and like the great all-time buzzer beaters, South Dakota State has those. They're in the reel, of the greatest shots in March Madness history. The game against Texas, I was at the Westgate Sportsbook. And it was March Madness, and it was Texas against South Dakota State, and it was one of the late games that night, and the place probably had 10,000 people in it, more than there was probably in the arena watching the game. Wow. And plus they had the whole stadium at Westgate was also full, so they probably had 20-something thousand people there, more than were probably in the stadium. And when they hit the shot, what happened was they were down by 2, and there was 1 second left, and they did the pass to the guy at half court. He turned around and threw it up like this, and bang, went in, and for the win. And I mean, the whole building just shook. It It's pretty amazing.
Oh,
But
wow.
you got to always, so that should be a good game. That's why I love my
Yep.
Jackrabbits. They score points like no one's business, and their defense isn't nearly as bad as some of these other teams. This is probably going to be a high-scoring game, though. Maybe
Total 155 in that.
Yeah, I like the over. I think it's going 175.
Okay. I can get behind that.
I also like San Diego against St. Mary's. That could be my dog of the day. Could be my dog of the day today.
I was trying to find that one.
Purdue, Michigan is
Okay,
obviously...
San Diego. Yeah, it's 15-point dog.
Purdue, Michigan is obviously a game a lot of people are looking at. I think this is a good place to not do it. I could see the Big Ten pushing Michigan, trying to get them across the line to get them into the NCAA tournament. They don't have to do as much as everybody else, right? We know that. And we could talk all we want about like how they do selection and the RPI, and right? If Michigan's close, they're in. If they're Michigan, they're going to get in. They always get the benefit of the doubt. Always. So I could see them kind of pushing them here in this game. I could see them, Purdue's a way better team. I mean, if they play on a neutral site and, all things being even, because you got to figure Purdue's in. But, the Big Ten has to decide, if Purdue loses this game, they fall out of being a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They'll have to win the conference tournament regardless. But, I don't know.
Do you think good place to be Michigan plus the points then?
I don't know. I don't love this game. I can't get there. I would love to take Purdue because I really hate Michigan.
Out of spite alone, right?
I can't stand them. I just don't like the way they always get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Just doesn't.
Well, they do.
Doesn't do it for me.
There's always those teams. And I'm sure it's pretty much like that benefit of the doubt. I'm sure in college there's a lot more biased with that.
See, a lot of people were worried about this show. They were like, oh, this show sucks, whatever, right? See? It's 4 days later. It's awesome, right? See?
Yeah, it is.
Told you. Told you so. Told you it was going to be a slam dunk. Told you. Told
Absolutely.
You. Told you.
Yeah, and then I'm going to film Brian's segment right after this, and we'll get it uploaded.
And it's like, and I'm telling you, we're going to have a time where we'll have guests here and there. We're not going to have like full show guests and stuff like that. We might have guests in for, just a couple minutes or, different things that we're going to do on the show. But it's like at first we're just going to continue to do this. And I like the way that I like the way that it's going. And it's like I don't have to talk about hockey because Joe has a hockey show.
Yep.
Thank God.
Thank God.
God, there's a hockey show.
Oh, don't make Mitch talk hockey. Actually, but it's funny. Always in the comments are like,
hate that fucking crap.
Where's Mitchy Pucks with his picks?
I'll tell you where his picks. Right here, where the penny is. Anyways,
I love it.
Got UC Irvine, the Anteaters, taking on UC Riverside. We got Cal State Bakersfield against UC Santa Barbara. This should be a good one. Bakersfield only 6-11, but UCSB, the Gauchos, normally a much better team than this. Normally that whole division, that Big West, goes through Irvine, the Anteaters, but the Anteaters are really not so good this year. So it's like I think the Big West is wide open.
Okay.
We got Northern Colorado against Sac State. This is don't even kid yourself. Northern Colorado sucks. They're hideous. They're the worst 12-11 team in college basketball. They're terrible.
They've just managed to get those wins.
I don't know what they
got the bounces right.
I don't know. Let's give no credit to them.
Okay, so Sacramento State plus those 6 points, then.
I don't know. Under. Way under.
I like it.
Way under. Way under. Seattle against Texas Rio Grande Valley. The Vaqueros.
You say grand or grand?
Grande. It's grand. It's grand, I believe. Grande. Grand
I just don't know.
Valley. Grande.
I don't know how I would have said it if I read it.
It depends.
That's why I asked which way you say it.
At Starbucks, they call it a grande. I call it a cup of coffee. I always call it large, medium, or small. Pisses them off to no end.
Oh, that would.
I
You
get
don't order right. You don't get the nice smile at the window.
I get the dirty look at Starbucks. I don't go. I go to Starbucks like once every 3 or 4 years. Like if the only time I go to like a Starbucks is if I'm on vacation somewhere and I don't have my coffee pot with me because I always travel with my coffee pot. But it's like I don't so I don't have to go to Starbucks. Nice. But like occasionally, like it'll be during the day, and I'll want a cup of coffee, so I'll stop by Swillbucks and I'll get one, and it's like a large, medium, small. It's like what size do you have?
That's my mom. We went through the Starbucks drive-through driving to a football game, and I'm like, "What do you want?" She's like, "Well, just get me a large like latte or something." And so I put in my order, and she started calling me a princess. She's like, "Can't you just get a large latte?
Exactly.
Be normal."
Exactly. I love the Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's like, "Just give me one of those vanilla bullshit things." He's like, "You know what I'm talking about."
Oh, I haven't seen that. That's awesome.
Yeah. He's like, anyone else in line want a vanilla bullshit thing? It's on me.
Mine is a mouthful when I say it. And when my mom pointed out I was a princess, I was like, okay, but just with my coffee, maybe. Because otherwise it comes too weak at Starbucks. You got to be a bit of a princess there.
Wouldn't know. We got San Francisco against Pepperdine. We've got Loyola Marymount versus BYU. We've got Hawaii versus Long Beach State. What up, Peaches? And Washington versus Arizona State.
Oh, Mitch, can the Long Beaches get it done on the road tonight against Hawaii? Plus 4 points there.
Tell you what, it's a long road trip to Oahu. That's the thing about playing in Hawaii. It is a long trip. But
so when would these guys fly in?
Probably last night.
Wow, it's got to be a hard game for sure. It's got to staying away from that one.
Got to be a tough day in Honolulu.
It must be, right? These guys want to get off the court, go outside to the beaches, I'm sure.
We could send Ashley over there for some heckling. She would probably enjoy it.
She would love it.
Ashley, we need some help. Do you mind going over to the stand here center and doing a little heckling for us? She'll be like,
we tell her we'll grab her a Starbucks. She definitely will.
I don't think she needs a Starbucks.
Oh no, she runs on them. I don't know if you caught the soccer show, but before and after, she's always got her Starbucks in her hand. So.
Oh man, I did not know that, but it makes a lot of sense. Anyways, I picked up 6 games from just doing the show that I'm going to be betting.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
I'm going to put those in the premium for you guys too.
Nice. Yep. I like it.
Not as a package, I don't believe. I'm just going to put them in.
Okay. I'm going to ride with Pepperdine here. Plus that 18.5. I think that's too big of a line there against San Francisco.
I'm with you. I think San Francisco, I think there's a problem, you know. And last time we saw San Francisco, they were not very good. They lost to Portland outright. So was it like, oh, they're going to be mad because they lost to Portland at home? Or is it a problem?
Probably a problem.
So the Hawaii game isn't tomorrow night. The Hawaii game is tonight. It's just, it starts after 12 Eastern time. So like 12 Eastern time is 7 o'clock here.
Yeah.
Like when it's midnight on the East Coast, it's 7 o'clock here. Like Romanelli says, I see you put your picks in at 1 a.m. It's like, no, it's 8 o'clock. It's right before I go to bed. We don't do teasers. Someone's asking about a teaser. We don't do teasers.
Oh, no.
1 point, 2 point, 5 point, 6 point. We take the other team if we don't like the points. We do not give away money to the sports books. We will not give them free money. It will not happen on my watch. All right, Joe, go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
No.
What else
you got
is
so
new?
excited about Pepperdine, too. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a great game there, and I think Pepperdine definitely gets the cover. And then give me BYU. I think BYU laying those 7 points on the road against Loyola Marymount is a great place to put your money. I like them. I like everything that they've been doing. I just can't get behind this other team. Favorites 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 meetings, too. So I think they kind of come in strong in this one.
I will not allow you to give money to the sports books. by betting teasers. I will not allow it on our show.
No, and so many people love it. Like, I've been seeing people wanting to tease the Bengals to like a 9-point dog for the Super Bowl. I'm like, what are you doing? I can't even imagine the juice on that. Right? It's not smart.
Yeah, it just doesn't even make sense.
No. Not one bit. What else were you liking in these later games, Mitch?
I still like the under in that Northern Colorado Sac State game. Northern Colorado just can't even hit a layup. I like Lamar against Cal Baptist because I pick Lamar every single show. So I'm going to stick with them. They are 0-14 straight up on the road this season, 2-21 straight up on the season. They're the best They're the best 2-21 team in America.
So we got the best 2-21 team, and we've got the worst 12 and what were they?
I also like Pepperdine. I think San Francisco is really nothing. I don't know. San Francisco really needed that win against Portland, and they needed it. It's like because the West Coast Conference is generally not a 4-bid conference. Sometimes they'll get 3, but generally it's a 2. So Gonzaga is always one of them, right? Then you have BYU, St. Mary's, and then maybe San Francisco, who is on that heater of the longest stretch of not making the NCAA tournament for a team that's won the NCAA tournament. They're the longest stretch of not making it. I think DePaul is going to break that. Is going to sneak in there though on them.
Break it there.
Yeah. If you think one player in a Super Bowl team is going to make a difference, you got the wrong game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I really don't think one player makes a difference.
Yeah. Do you look at like the top 5 of each team and compare them or anything like that? Or
I look at them. I look at the overall matchups.
Yeah.
And we've seen this Bengals secondary suffocate, better receiving cores than what they face here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That Titans receiving core is money. And I'd say Matt Stafford, Ryan Tannehill are fairly close.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue isn't that. To me, it's the Bengals receivers against that Rams secondary, which is really good. And
it is.
And I think that could create problems. And people are like, "Oh, the pass rush and whatever." Everyone in the NFL that plays defensive line. What you think the Chargers game that was any easier than this? It's like the Browns game, Clowney and Myles Garrett. Yeah, it was way easier than this game.
And not one bit.
They've been facing pass rushes like this all season long. Yeah. It's not that issue. The issue is that if you can get man coverage on Chase, and then you can cover those other guys who are the guys that usually roast you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I look at the quarterback matchup and looking at Burrows. Burrows is he's a bounce back quarterback. Like if he throws an interception, he's fine and confident coming back out on the field on that next drive that he gets that ball. But you look at Matt Stafford, and that's my fear with Matt Stafford is if he throws that interception, he takes that risk and it doesn't pay off, he doesn't bounce back well. He comes out and plays cautious after that. So I think we've got a really interesting game here.
Yeah, I think, we'll have a lot to talk about for the Super Bowl coming up, especially Saturday and Sunday when we have all the cappers on. Sunday, we'll probably do a lot of the props. And, we have all the prop tools at PickDawgz and Sports Chat Place that you guys can get all those players prop. I don't know. I think if you put Ramsey on Chase, I think you might be in business, especially if you can get a pass rush. I think what people think it's one thing if the receiver can just run down the field and the quarterback can sit there in the pocket and throw it to them, right? That's one type of football. The other one is if your quarterback's on the run to begin with, and he's got to throw it up for grabs, a lot.
Which we all know Burrows is with that offensive line.
So Caden is talking about the teaser from the aspect that the sportsbook wants you to look at the teaser from. And that's the changing of the line and adding more points or subtracting points on a pleaser. But what he's leaving out is the most important part. is that now you've reduced your payout and you still need multiple outcomes to achieve a payout, and you're getting less on it.
Absolutely.
Never do
and then
that.
You're going across that zero too.
You can't do it. It's like when you're trying to win 50, 52, 53% of your games, right? You can't, if you are giving away money on your wins, well, now that percentage that you need to win goes way up. But the probability of hitting those wins doesn't. You're only going to get crushed over time. That's why when you go to a physical sports book, and I know it's different now with the apps, but when you go to a physical sports book, right next to the register, they have a stack of cards right next to the register, just where they put the M&Ms at Walmart. Just where they put the M&Ms.
M&Ms.
Oh, Reese's, M&Ms, right?
Yep.
The things, not as good as Canadian chocolate, but they have the cards right there, and they're always bright yellow, blue, like that, the colors like that we make the thumbnails of our YouTube. Click on me, But anyways, that's my deal with teasers. We can do a whole show on that. But anyways, we've run way long today, Joe. You have a parlay or anything for anybody here?
Yeah, let me just look back here. Give you guys a parlay. I'm liking the Milwaukee Bucks plus the points. I'm also going to go with the Dallas Mavericks laying those 7 points there. And then give me the over between the Raptors and the Houston Rockets. What about you, Mitch?
I'm going to go.
Anything for a parlay for us?
I like the under Northern Colorado, Sac State. I like Arizona against Washington State. And I like Moorhead versus Belmont. That's my parlay.
I like it.
Thanks everyone for joining us.
I like it.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Awesome show. Smash that like button. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so. And of course, if you have picks, leave them in the comments before the game start. I pick 100% of the games I get to pick after the game is already over. Aloha. Hui ho. Thanks again, Joe. Fun times.
Thanks, Mitch.
I like it.